Today is Friday, the 17th of Cheshvan, Tovshin Ayin Tes. We are in Teres Menachem, Sefer Mamorim, Tovshin Yud Gimel, in the Mamar of the second day of Shavuos, Vayedaber Anochi. We are on page Kuf Ayin Beis. We're at Ois Vov. We didn't begin Ois Vov yet, because we're in the middle of discussing the Sikha of the Rebbe, where he explains the different types of birurim, the different types of refinement that take place. So we started discussing yesterday the Sikha of the Rebbe's talk from Shabbos, Parshas Bahar B'chukaysai, Mevorchem HaChedesh Sivan, Tovshin Yud Gimel, which is published in Teres Menachem, Tovshin Yud Gimel, Volume 2, pages 171 to 176, where the Rebbe explains the Mishnah and the Tefillah, the Mishnah and the prayer, Yiratzim L'fanecha, Hashem Elokeinu v'Elokei Avosseinu, Sheyibona Beis Hamikdash b'mheira v'yameinu v'sein chalkeinu b'seir hasecha. And yesterday we discussed the manner in which Torah affects refinement, birur, which is in a manner of calmness, not in a manner of war, no battle. Whereas the birur, the refinement that takes place through mitzvahs, is in a manner of milchama, in a manner of a battle. You have to work with the object resists. The person himself has resistance because of the animal soul. So it's a very involved and difficult process. That's called birur b'derech milchama, refinement in a manner of war. There's friction, effort, resistance, whereas when it comes to Torah, the refinement of Torah is calm and it's peaceful. And that's how the Rebbe interpreted v'sein chalkeinu b'seir hasecha. Every person has his chelek, his part in the world that one needs to refine. And that's the purpose of the mission, the specific mission that each individual has for his particular soul. So there's a specific geographical and also qualitative aspect of the world, which that person is personally responsible and charged with refining, with lifting. And so too, of course, a person has to refine one's own animal soul, one's own body. So the same chalkeinu, we ask Hashem, 10 chalkeinu, please make it so that our share, our mission of refinement should be b'seir hasecha, in a manner of refinement of Torah. It should be calm and peaceful, rather than a manner of battle. The Rebbe now carries on and explains also what does it mean, Chalkeinu b'seir hasecha. He adds another element to that interpretation. He says, in order to be able, in fact, to bring about refinement in the world in a manner of Torah, in a calm manner, rather than in a manner of battle, it has to be Chalkeinu b'seir hasecha, our part in your Torah. Now, until now, that I've interpreted Chalkeinu means our part of the world that we are charged with refining. Over here, he's interpreting Chalkeinu, our part in your Torah, meaning to say, every Jew has a specific part of the Torah which is related to him. In fact, the Alter Rebbe, Balatanya, writes in the Hakdama, the preface to the whole Tanya, that there are 600,000 general souls, and they are rooted in the 600,000 letters of the Torah. He doesn't discuss it there, but the fact is that there are 805,000 letters in the Torah. But when you add the vowels, which are not included in the Torah, and some other letters, as explained in Alter Rebbe himself explains it in the Torah, I believe, in Parshas B'chukaysai, I don't remember exactly where, but the bottom line is there is a certain calculation where it would come to 600,000. And those 600,000 letters are connected to the 600,000 general souls. So every Yid has a part, is rooted in the Torah, and every Jew has a part in the Torah that's specifically connected to him. So in order for a person to be able to refine his or her part of the world in a manner of b'seir hasecha, in a calm manner, we actually have to identify Chalkeinu, our part, b'seir hasecha, in Hashem's Torah. For example, the Talmud says, the Talmud in Erevin says, Chosh b'reisha yasik b'teira. Chosh b'greina yasik b'teira. If somebody has a headache, occupy yourself with Torah learning. If somebody has a throat ache, occupy yourself with learning Torah. Now, the fact is that often, when we have a headache, one has a headache or a throat ache or any other ailment, we study the Torah and it doesn't cause the headache to go away. It doesn't cause the ailment to go away. Why is that? The answer is that in order for it to be effective, we need to actually study the part of the Torah that's related to us, which is the basis for connected to our life soul, to our life energy. So when we learn our part in the Torah, then the ailment becomes cured. Because through a cure in the spiritual sense, a spiritual cure brings along a physical cure as a result. But since most of us don't know which part of the Torah is related to us specifically, so what does the Talmud say? You're ill. Study the Torah. Which part of the Torah? As much as you can, because perhaps you will be successful to hit that part of the Torah which is related to you, which is related to us, and then the refuah, the cure, will be drawn down and be effective. Similarly, when we say V'sein chalkeinu b'seirosecha, please make it so that we should have our share in your Torah, meaning to say, we ask Hashem that we should be meritorious, we should merit to identify and to take part in the part of the Torah which is related to my part of the world. And through this, it will assist me to be able to bring about refinement in a peaceful manner, as a refinement of Torah, rather than in a manner of a battle. And this concludes, the Rebbe says, this is the reason why, prior to asking Hashem, B'tein chalkeinu b'toratecha, we say, Sheyibana Beis HaMikdash. What's the connection? Sheyibana Beit HaMikdash Mimheira B'yameinu, B'tein chalkeinu b'toratecha. What's the connection? Since the ultimate purpose of everything is Binyan Beis HaMikdash, the construction of the third temple, meaning to say the time to come, what's going to be in the time to come? There's going to be Gilui Lakut, revelation of godliness. So therefore, in the time to come, that will be the ultimate state of existence in this world as it is according to Torah. So in other words, the sum total of our effort, of the process of bidur and refinement, and the ultimate state of the result of bidur according to Torah, meaning to say peaceful, will be when Mashiach comes, when what will be revealed, the whole world would conduct himself and will conduct itself, will be conducted, and what will be present and revealed in the world is godliness. That's another way of saying bidur of Torah, in a calm way, in a peaceful way. All matter will be it'll be obvious to the eye how all physical matters come from the Torah. So therefore we say Sheibana Beis HaMikdash. We ask Hashem that the Beis HaMikdash should be rebuilt. In other words, we should merit that state of wholesomeness and completeness which will take place when Mashiach will come, which is the ultimate state of derech in a peaceful manner rather than a derech milchama. And then we carry on and we say, allow it so that whilst we prepare for that, and as we herald that, and as we make the effort to accomplish that, it should be as it is according to the Torah. Now, generally speaking, there were yichidei segula. There were very special people, few individuals, who merited that they should actually live their entire life in a manner of bidur al pi Torah. Refinement as it is from the Torah perspective, meaning to say in a calm way, rather than b'derech milchama, in a way of battling. For example, Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Elazar, Reb Shimon, right? They studied the Torah, and their work, malachtam ha'isanasis al de'echerim, their work was performed through others. They lived in a condition similar to how it's going to be in the time to come when Mashiach comes. As it says, in the time to come, the Navi says concerning that time, v'omdu in Yeshaya, v'omdu zonim v'ra'ot tzeincha. Others will stand and feed your sheep. Meaning to say, we will not need to occupy ourselves with physical endeavor, but rather we will be completely involved in the study of Torah and in serving Hashem. But concerning certain yichidei segula, certain special individuals, that actually happened in the present time, before Mashiach comes, not present time, but before Mashiach comes, is mentioned like Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar. However, says the Rebbe, me'ein zeh, something similar to this, a taste of this, needs to be experienced by every single individual. So even the bulk of us who are involved in birur b'derech milchama, we have to battle. Why? Because we're not at the level of la'osid laveh like Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar. We're not at the level of revelation of godliness in a revealed manner. So we have to engage in birur and the process of refinement b'derech milchama in a manner of battle, whether it is with the objects of the world, the physical objects with which we engage, our environment, ourselves. Nevertheless, we need to have a me'ain, somewhat of a taste, something, a bit of this birur, this refinement process of Torah, which is b'derech shalom in a peaceful and calm manner. The sum total of all of this is, I just want to say one more thing. I mentioned yesterday about the Tanoim, the Tanaic sages who held that a person should focus completely on the Torah and not engage in any work. I mentioned it was Rabbi Shmuel. It's the other way around. It was a debate between Rabbi Shmuel and Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai. Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai said a person should focus only on learning Torah. Rabbi Shmuel said no. A person has to also be involved in physical endeavor, in mundane endeavor. And the Talmud says, "Harbe also ki Rabbi Shmuel, but also be Adam." Many did as Rabbi Shmuel says, and they were successful, and others did like Rabbi Shimon bar Yochai, and they were also unsuccessful. Why? Because the bulk of us are not at that. Most of us are not at that level. So the point being, why did I bring this in? Since we're learning over here about birur b'derech mamayla lamata and birur b'derech mamata lamayla, Rebbe in chapter 5 was discussing refinement from above to below and from below to above, right? And the Rebbe said that the refinement from above to below is the refinement of Torah. So I thought it would be helpful to focus on the different types of birurim, different types of refinement that we engage in as we go through the process of life and fulfilling our purpose and our mission. So to sum it up, there are two modes of birur that are required, that prevail, that exist, and there are two modes of birur that are necessary. There's b'derech ma'amata l'mayla, from below to above, meaning to say, our effort, our endeavor, which means, in other words, we engage, we toil, we work hard, we battle. That's the symbol of the battle. And I would, in that category, is mitzvahs, the performance of mitzvahs. Because in the performance of mitzvahs, we engage with the object, whether it is in the preparation of the object, like for example, he mentioned the hide that we prepare to make the tefillin. It's an involved process. It's not simple. And whether it is more in the spiritual sense, where we have to battle with our emotions, our ego, in order to be able to serve Hashem with the proper intent, with the proper approach. That would also include Mamar Vayedaber tefillah, prayer. Where generally speaking, tefillah is the idea from below to above. We seek out Hashem, but as Chassidus explains, the process of davening from the beginning of the prayer, leading up to Shemona Esra, to the Amidah and beyond, is the idea of working with the nefesh habehemit, with the animal soul, to lezamer aritzim, psuke de zimra. It means the song, the verses of song, but psuke de zimra also means verses of cutting or pruning. Lezamer aritzim, to cut down the negative, the weeds, the unwanted elements that interfere with the actual growth, healthy growth, right? So similarly, the nefesh habehemit, the animal soul, needs to be subdued and needs to be worked in such a way that we should harness it, that its desires should not be to physical and material things, but rather to holiness, to godliness. So that's again the idea of b'derech milchama. Shas sleis shas krova, it says in Kabbalah. That the time of prayer is the time of battle. Why? Because we're working with ourselves to prepare ourselves. And that's the sulam, the ladder of the tefillah, where we start from the lowest level and we slowly ascend as we go through the Pesukei de Zimra, the Shema, and the Amidah, where we go from one level to a higher level. So again, but that's Milmata Lamayla, that's B'derech Milchama, in a manner of battle. But then you have the birur, the refinement, B'derech Shalom, in a peaceful manner, which is Milmayla Lamata, from above to below, which is the birur, the refinement that comes through the study of Torah, as the Rebbe explained in chapter 5. So I think that helps us clarify these dual processes that take place as we go through our journey. So we'll start a couple of lines in Ois Vov, chapter 6. Following on from this point, that Torah, the refinement of Torah, is bederech milmayla lamata, from above to below, and it's in a peaceful manner. It's not a manner of battle. Says the Rebbe in chapter 6, page Kufayim Beis, v'zehu gam mashekosov. This is also the meaning of the verse in Isaiah, in Yeshaya, which says, Oy yachzik b'ma'uzi yas sholem li sholem yasali. The prophet there talks about the fact that those that oppress the Jewish people should be on the receiving end of Hashem's retribution. However, he says, because the Jewish people also engage in iniquities, they're also left wanting, right? Therefore, Hashem's wrath against the nations is challenged by Midat Hadin, by the standard of judgment, saying, why are you bringing judgment on the other nations if the Jewish people are themselves left wanting? So that should be corrected, says the prophet. One of the ways is, Oy yachzik b'ma'uzi, if they would grasp my fortress, Ya'as sholem li, they would make peace for me. Sholem ya'as li, they would make peace for me. That's what the verse says. So what immediately comes to mind, so first of all, what are we talking about? So Rashi immediately explains, if my people grasp my fortress, meaning to say, my Torah, and that they seek no other fortress but my fortress, then they shall grant me peace, to calm my thoughts and my ire, which troubles me, because I do not avenge myself upon my adversaries, and I will indeed take revenge from them. Right? So if the Yidden, if Am Yisrael would follow the Torah, Ma'uzi, Hashem's fortress, then it'll allow me to be peaceful, because otherwise Hashem is conflicted. He doesn't have any peace. But we see here it says twice, Yasa Sholem Li, Sholem Yasa Li. It's basically the same thing with a slight change in the order of the words. They would make peace for me, they would make peace for me. What's the double meaning? So the Talmud comes along and says, V'amru Chazal, our sages teach in the Masechta Sanhedrin, Kol ha'oisik b'Torah lishma. What are we talking about? We're talking about Hashem, the prophet, telling the Jewish people, engage in the study of Torah. So the Talmud learns from here that whoever occupies himself in Torah, lishma, for the sake, for its proper intent, not for any ulterior motive, meisim sholem b'pamalya shel mayla u'b'pamalya shel mata. He brings peace to the heavenly entourage and to the earthly entourage. That's the meaning of the double expression, Sholem Yasali, Yasa Sholem Li, Sholem Yasali. Two situations that need peace. Which are the two situations? The Pamalya Shel Mayla and the Pamalya Shel Mata. The heavenly entourage and the earthly entourage. There are different ways of interpreting this. In the simple sense, the interpretation is that what is the conflict between what's the conflict in the heavenly entourage and what's the conflict in the earthly entourage? So the Rif explains that Hashem has two worlds, the heavenly and the earthly. And when the Jewish people do not learn Torah, don't study Torah for the sake of studying Torah, but for ulterior motives or for the wrong motives, then the forces above, the angels, come to Hashem with a complaint. Why did you give the Torah to the humans? You remember when in the Tractate Shabbos it talks about when Hashem came to give the Torah on Mount Sinai to the human being, the angels came and said, you have such an unbelievable treasure in your treasure house, and you want to give it away to mere mortals? And he asked, they said, Ma'anish kisif kedenu, ven adam kisif kedenu, right? Who are these people that you want to give away something so precious to them? It would seem that it's more appropriate to leave it in the heavens for us, for the angels. So he asked Moshe to respond to them. A whole discussion between Moshe and the angels, and finally he gives a good argument why it should be given to us. But when the Jewish people don't study the Torah properly, they come back and say, "We told you so." So they cause problems for Hashem up in the heavenly entourage. In addition to this, we know that the physical world is protected and sustained as a result of the Torah. You know, we say the famous Chazal, the famous also in the same place in the Tractate Shabbos, it talks about the fact that we say when it comes to the sixth day of creation, it says Vahi Erev Vahi Boker Yom Hashishi. When it comes to the first day, it doesn't say Vahi Erev Vahi Boker Yom Ho'echad. Second, Vahi Erev Vahi Boker Yom Hasheni. Vahi Erev Vahi Boker Yom Echad, Yom Sheni, Yom Shlishi, and so on and so forth. What's the additional Hey by Hashishi? Hey Hayediyah. Hey Hayediyah means it comes to emphasize that we're talking about a very famous, special sixth day. Which day is that? Vav Sivan, the sixth day of the month of Sivan, on which the Torah was given. Why? Because Hashem made a condition with creation. When He created the world, He said, "I'm creating the world conditional on the Jewish people accepting the Torah at Sinai. If they will not, the world will return to its state of nothingness as it was before creation." That sixth day of Sivan, the day the Torah was given to the Jewish people and they received it, brought sustenance and creation and sustained the creation that Hashem created almost 2,500 prior to that. So therefore, it also, when a Yid studies Torah properly, Meisim Shalom, he brings peace not only in the heavenly entourage as just explained, but also in the earthly entourage. He brings peace into the world, because without the study of Torah, that condition that Hashem has made with creation is not fulfilled. So by the study of Torah Lishma, it is fulfilled. That's the simple interpretation. The Rebbe is going to explain it. The Rebbe says like this, another couple of lines. What does this mean in the deeper sense? The peace in the heavenly entourage and the peace in the earthly entourage. Meisim shalom b'pamal shamayla hu hamshacha b'atzilis. To make peace in the heavenly entourage means the drawing down of godliness into the realm of Atzilus. Making peace in the earthly entourage is the idea of drawing down godliness into the worlds of Biyah, Bri, Yitzir, Asiyah. Generally speaking, we know that the chain order of creation is divided into Olamot and Sfirot, worlds, realms, and attributes, divine attributes. There are generally four realms, and each one of them generally has 10 Sfirot, 10 divine attributes, from Chochmah through Malchus. Chochmah, Bina, Das, Chesed, Gvura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, and Malchus. Generally, this is the chain order of creation. These four realms are divided into generally two categories. Atzilut, the realm of Atzilut, the highest one, Atzilus, is in one category. Beriya, Yetzirah, and Asiyah are in another category. What's the delineation mark? How are they different? Atzilut is still considered in the domain of the Creator. Beriya, Yetzirah, Asiyah is already considered the domain of the created. Bereshit, bara, Elokim. Bara, from the expression of Bria. Bria denotes a creature, a created being. In the deeper sense, in the more, another way of putting it is something that wasn't there before and now it is. Yesh me ayin, something from nothing. The first creature, yesh me ayin, it doesn't have to be physical. It could be a spiritual creature. The first yesh me ayin creature, first creature that was created, ex nihilo, as the expression is, I think in Latin. Something from nothing is in Elam HaBriya, in the realm of creation. Angels. Angels, we know the first angels are in the realm of Bria. Beyond Bria is still godly. That's still considered the domain of the Creator. That's the general difference between Atzilus in one category, Bria Tzirasi in another category. So he's interpreting Meisim Shalom B'Pamalya Shel Maila. Says the Rebbe, it's another way of saying drawing down godliness in the heavenly entourage, drawing down godliness in the heavenly world, in the godly world, in the godly realm. What is that? Drawing down godliness in Atzilus. Or Meisim Shalom B'Pamalya Shel Mata, drawing down godliness in the earthly entourage, in the earthly worlds, in the lower worlds, means drawing down godliness in the realms of Bria, Yitzira, and Asiyah. In the next section, the Rebbe is going to explain in more detail why it is necessary to draw more godliness into these realms. And for more about that, the Mitzvah Shem on Sunday morning.